The Toronto Maple Leafs revealed a new look for their St. Pat's throwback jersey, and the Carolina Hurricanes polled fans on a possible rebrand. This is an Icethetics Flash Report for March 16th. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. Well, the Maple Leafs are hosting the Hurricanes tonight, and the two teams just happen to be making jersey news this weekend. So before they face off, let's catch up. I promise to keep it quick. First, the Leafs. On Monday, they unveiled a new look for their Toronto St. Pat's throwback uniforms in a bit of a different way. In a video posted to their social media accounts, we see Olympic gold medalist and PWHL Toronto star Sarah Nurse starting up a game of NHL 24 with, I'll guess an influencer that I'm probably too old to recognize.
Hey, Seabass.
Oh, right, him.
I think I'm going to wear the flip side this time.
You know what? It's almost time for the St. Pat's game, so let's go green.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Got it. Wait.
Whoa, wait. Is this the new St. Pat's jersey?
Oh man, they released it in the game?
That's sick.
So yeah, it looks like they decided to do a reveal as a promo for the video game. Not sure we've seen that tactic before. Anyway, here's a comparison of the old St. Pat's jersey alongside the new design. It's almost the same underlying jersey template, but for the new collar design, along with a fresh crest and new numbers. The numbers are a far cry from the old design, which employed a unique jersey application. The new look is basically the team's primary uniform numbers with a few rounded corners. Overall, it's definitely a much more modern take on what's supposed to be a very retro aesthetic. The previous St. Pat's jersey was almost a one-for-one remake of the sweaters the franchise wore in the early 1920s. And in a funny way, it's a bit of history repeating itself here. That was the last new uniform to launch in the Reebok Edge generation. We would see it in later seasons adapted to the Addy Zero style. Now, this redesigned St. Pat's jersey is once again the last new uniform of its generation. There will be no new Adidas game jerseys after this one. It's a fun bit of historical symmetry, even though history has very little to do with this design. According to the research of Andrew Greenstein at NHLUniforms.com, the franchise never wore a shamrock on their chest. So this is a completely new design. Still, it's great to see the NHL making room for teams to wear throwback jerseys a few times a season. I hope we see more teams take advantage of this in the future. In fact, we just saw the St. Louis Blues do it this week. That was a great 90s battle with the Kings. And of course, the Canes added a new white Whalers throwback just this season as well. Speaking of, let's switch gears. The Carolina Hurricanes appear to be considering a logo redesign and are asking fans for input. In the last few days, the team apparently sent out an online survey which included some questions about branding. Specifically, respondents were shown a half dozen new logos, which they were asked to rate from 1 to 10. You're looking at them here. First, there's a big C with the hurricane flags embedded inside and flared corners to mimic the shape of a hurricane. The C itself is basically the same shape as the one you see on their white road jersey. Next is kind of a redrawn version of their existing primary logo to make it more C-shaped, but you can definitely see elements of the current design within. This one is kind of a simplified version of that logo with the C embedded inside the hurricane shape. But I have to say it's a bit odd to see the red on the left side and black on the right after so many years. And then they showed 3 very similar script marks. The lettering is all the same here, but each one has its own little flair. Storm flags in the underline here, storm flags in the second A on this one, and the shape of North Carolina in the underline for the last option. I won't really judge these designs too critically because they all seem to be very preliminary, not fully fleshed out yet, which makes sense if they're still at an early stage of developing a new look. But it is a bit unusual to show these to fans at this point, when they had to know screenshots would make their way across the internet pretty quickly. If I had to guess, I'd say the Canes will be among the teams angling for a new look to go with the new Fanatics jersey template in the coming years, and they don't seem to mind if we know about it. By the way, if you haven't watched my Fanatics first look, now is a good time to go check it out, because I'm all finished here. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the Icethetics channel and set up notifications so you don't miss out on any future jersey updates. That's all for now. See you next time.